The two countries' relations are from 3,500 years old, and both countries have legacies of intellectuals, cultural, religious, and linguistic interactions. The present Modi era has been marked by close contacts at all levels. Hi everyone, this is Arpita and you are watching me on Think Tank India, and with me Dr. Vasudha. So we're going to discuss about the topic of India and Sri Lanka bilateral relations from ancient to Modi era. And today we have a very special case for our insightful discussion, Dr. Damenda Porage. So he is a global Buddhist activist and chairman of the Sri Lankan Foundation for Buddhist Brotherhood and president of Sri Lankan Tibetan Buddhist Brotherhood Society. He has served as Deputy Secretary General, International Buddhist Confederation, New Delhi, India, IBC. He also working with His Holiness Dalai Lama and received many peace prizes globally. So welcome, sir, to our channel Think Tank India.
Okay, namaste, namaskar, ayubovan.
Namaste, welcome to our channel.
Yes.
So, sir, my first question is to you. That tell us about the cultural friendship between India and Sri Lanka that is uh, last 3,500 years old.
Hey, that's like, I think maybe more than that. Because this started, so Indo Sri Lanka historical cultural ties. They back to, many thousands of years. Like it begins with the uh, advent of the construction of the bridge interconnecting Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu, India,
Ram
and
Setu.
Mena. Yes,
Man-made Setu.
yeah, it is based on this epic Ramayana. So I think that is the start. So according to it, you know, at the period of history, there was this Ram Ravana story, and then since that time we had visits from Indian kings, and India had visits from Sri Lankan kings, and India and Sri Lanka we have been like one. It's not true. That's what we have always been telling. So we are one. So like when like example. So if we have an opportunity, like Dr. Apita and Dr. Vasuda, uh, if we walk together in Colombo, everybody will think that we are Sri Lankans. And if we have an opportunity work together in Kolkata, they will think, oh, we three all are Indians. So that this similarity uh, among us, so which is kind of it's sign that says that we have the same origin, right? And then after this Ramayana epic, uh, so some people believe that it actually happened. Some people believe that it was a kind of a story, like myth or something. And then the uh, the after that, the second one, historically more significant interaction began with the arrival of Prince Vijaya in 543 BC, and he arrived with his several hundred followers who later took their wives and their relatives from southern parts of India. And then he married the Sri Lankan queen Kuweni, and they had children. and and it like so that was the second uh, historic connection, and the third and the most important one is uh, Venerable Arahant Mahinda, the son of Emperor Ashoka, and his sister Sanghamitta Bhikkhuni visited Sri Lanka in 247 BC, and with that advent began and the more like intense second phase of the religious and cultural relations and interactions. It was based on Buddhism with the arrival of Bhikkhuni Sanghamitta Devi.
Sangamitra.
Yes, you
I
say
have a paper on
Sanghamitra.
it. I have a paper on
Yeah,
it, article that she is the first missionary probably to spread Buddhism from India to Sri Lanka.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And then she started
Hmm.
Bhikkhuni order in Sri Lanka. So our first Bhikkhuni was a queen, and Sri Lanka first
Queen
Buddhist
Anula.
monk, Anula, correct, exactly,
Yes, Queen
and
Anula.
Queen
Wife of
Anula, and
Priyadarshi.
exactly, yes,
Queen Priyadarshi.
exactly, yes, yeah, very correct. And then the first bhikkhu was Prince Aditya, right? So then with that, uh, and this was the beginning of the most significant third phase of Indo-Sri Lanka historical, cultural, and religious relations. So this again strengthened and developed to uh, an inalienable peak of relations until the current Modi era.
In between, also the great mathematician Khana came from Sri Lanka. Queen Padmini came from Sri Lanka. And we also have a good relations at the time of Rajiv Gandhi. He lost his life for Sri Lankan people, na?
That's very unfortunate. That's very
Yes.
unfortunate. Yeah. So we can
Yes.
talk about in the latter part of this conversation. So because like in fact that time, so India came to help Sri Lanka with an army, and so many thousands of lives were lost. And so in Sri Lanka we have the monument erected to mark these lost lives of the Indian IPKF soldiers. That's near my house. So it's about 5 minutes drive from here.
Oh,
Yes, and
oh.
yeah. So that is how this India and Sri Lanka evolved.
So you reside in Kandy?
No, no, I'm in Sri Javardhanpura Court, the capital.
Okay,
So we have,
Colombo.
yeah,
Colombo.
yeah, it's part of Colombo. Yeah, so Colombo is the business capital. Now this Sri Javardhanpura Court is the administrative capital. So the parliament is here uh, in this area.
So, sir, now we are coming to the present days.
Okay.
Actually, how much Sri Lanka is in debt actually today?
Yeah. Now, according to the World Bank estimates, Sri Lanka has an external debt burden of more than 52 billion as of January 2023. Sri Lanka with a population of nearly 22 million, had plunged into a deep economic crisis with over $50 billion in external debt and a shortage of foreign exchange reserves. The country is currently struggling to pay for, essential imports. So you know, this has led to sharp increase in the price of essential commodities like rice, fuel, cooking gas, energy and gasoline, essential medicines, stationery items, milk, and every consumer item that is imported or locally produced items that depend on imported raw materials, fertilizer, or anything of that sort. So this has contributed to like fast spiraling inflation. A fuel shortage recently left much of the country suffering uh, through like many, like about 13-hour power cut a day, and still the power cut goes on. Every day we have like 2.5 hour power cut. I was also a little bit kind of upset today because a power cut like occurs when we have the meeting. But we were like kind of lucky because the today 1.5 hour power cut was over now. It's over now, right? And then uh, so this 13-hour power cut and the power cut even today continues intermittently, greatly inconveniencing the school children. Sittings for examinations right now, they are doing the advanced level examinations. Industries and other service relatives and government official activities. So Sri Lanka's foreign debt foreign debt obligation for this year exceeds 7.5 billion. Foreign exchange reserves in Sri Lanka increased to like like almost 2,000 uh, million US dollars uh, since November 2022. So now you can understand like what kind of a crisis going on at the moment.
Sir, why Sri Lanka went into this economic crisis? Do you think China and Rajapaksa family are the main culprit for Sri Lanka's financial defaulter?
Yeah, well, so a few years ago, Sri Lanka seemed to be on the right track. Tourism was booming, and with mega infrastructure project, like it seemed making headlines worldwide. Uh, Even some of my Indian friends were telling me like, "Oh, you see, you are like road constructions are so fast, faster than India. So India should learn from you like that." Which was not kind of a true story because I said it seemed right. Okay. So now today the country is insolvent and prices are skyrocketing. So now let me come to your question. Like a financial crisis had been brewing for more than a decade in Sri Lanka, where international sovereign bonds or market borrowing constitute a major portion of the country's foreign debt. Although one cannot directly point an accusing finger at this particular family and the Chinese connections. Okay, so you have to like get me like. So I'm telling again, I'm repeating.
But you
Although one
surrendered
cannot,
Hambantota. But you surrendered Hambantota port to China for 99 years lease.
Yeah, let me come to this point. So I'm telling you, so although one cannot directly point an accusing finger at the Rajapaksa family and their Chinese connections, the undemocratic and self-aggrandizement measures have indirectly caused it. Okay? So these unpatriotic approaches combined with nepotism to a very extreme level, and this particular family's extreme greed for money can be attributed to the crisis. They wanted to accumulate money at any cost, including the destruction of the country's economy. They wanted to get huge kickbacks from, say, arms purchases during the civil war time, and they implemented non desperately needed billion-dollar mega development projects like road, like port, okay, with high interests.
So what about the
These,
monasteries? What about the monasteries?
I didn't get you. The monasteries?
I mean, present situation, monasteries in
Chinese
Sri
government
Lanka.
invested on monasteries also.
Exactly, exactly. Now, this is a recent development. This is a recent development. So they are coming up with a big number of gift packs to the monasteries. The key monasteries have been tapped, coming up with big boxes of uh, dry ration distributions, but we don't know what's inside because we have not got any box to our hand, right? Because they approach the monasteries and they like give away these boxes of dry rations in plenty, and to the villagers, the families, because I see now, now these dry rations, will this solve the problem? So can they help them to overcome poverty? So poverty has been created. So we are in debt, right? So they have borrowed money at higher interest rates. Now, a few months back, the former Auditor General stated that he could not comprehend where the money went, because when they calculate the infrastructure built and the money borrowed, there is a gap. But they cannot, find out what has happened. They can't find out. So that's another uh, dark side of this story.
So, sir, what the present situation of Sri Lanka?
Yeah, the current situation on the ground in Sri Lanka for the common people of the island is unprecedented hardships due to the very high cost of food items, all consumer items, fuel, cooking gas. So yesterday also cooking gas prices went up, essential medicines, the frequently discontinued power supply, and all other basic requirements. This has made the people's day to day living itself a major problem. Critics have portrayed, like I have read somewhere, Sri Lanka standing holding the begging bowl in her hands with tears of misery running down her cheeks. This is very sad situation. In 1960s, Sri Lanka has lent money to China. China has borrowed from Sri Lanka in 1960s. Now the situation has reversed, no? During a few decades of time. So due to the greed of the rulers and I mean so many things. Okay. And then now new president has announced that he is going to introduce very harsh economic measures to rebuild the
Do
country's
you
economy.
think Ranil Wickremesinghe is doing something different from the Rajapakses?
No, the situation is like although he's the president now, so in the parliament he has the vote from the same party.
Yes.
So that
So
is
I am
very
saying that.
tricky. That is very tricky because so when he like stands on the same platform, so whether he can do this, because we know he is a very, I mean, he's a veteran politician, right? Veteran politician, an educated person, and he's been in politics. I mean, very senior person, right? And personally, I respect this person, and but the problem is whether he can do it, because because he needs their vote. So then, so that is our problem, right? And we will see. I mean, how like he is going to do it, right? Uh, so, but the present situation is not so favorable for the people of Sri Lanka, right? So this will mean that inflation will worsen further, and the purchasing power of the common man will dwindle extremely. Consequently, people will have to go without meals 3 times a day. They will have to forego the proper schooling of children. Also, they will forego proper medical treatments in government hospitals. So they cannot travel to visit ailing relatives to distant places and other requirements and minor comforts. In spite of this miserable, in spite of this miserable and distressing situation, so the government is getting ready to hold local government elections to feel the pulse of the people and whether or not they will support the former family who can rule the country in future general elections. It is clearly evident that political leaders and politicians are completely unconcerned and indifferent to the sufferings of the people of the country. So that is the situation on the ground in Sri Lanka.
Sir, how India helped Sri Lanka from coming out from this economic crisis? Now we know Sri Lanka is doing foreign trade in Indian currency, Indian rupee.
Yeah. So India has helped Sri Lanka in every possible way, not only during the economic crisis, also during the 3 decade long civil war, and every occasion in history when Sri Lanka was desperate for help, guidance, and support. But one important aspect that is worthwhile remembering on this occasion is that the diplomatic and political relations with India and its national leader, Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, are at their peak in spite of the difficult path that Sri Lanka
I
is
am
studying.
coming this this point. The
Yeah.
impact of contact between India and Sri Lanka and the role of Mr. Modi.
Sir,
This
I have
is,
a question. Please
yeah,
continue, sir. Then I'm.
okay. So India is a rock of strength at these crucial times. India extended immense humanitarian assistance and support and stood by Sri Lankan, the people of Sri Lanka, all throughout the current economic crisis. Honestly, since the coronavirus pandemic and the 3 decade long civil war, the resettlement and rehabilitation process and other desperate situations, India stood by the side of the people of Sri Lanka. Now to top it all, India has extended the facility to Sri Lanka for using the most stable Indian rupee for business transaction in the SAARC countries, in the region, and in other foreign countries. So this is a great blessing and assistance from India for Sri Lanka to import to buy India's people's requirements. I'm like at a comparatively reasonable price. This also means that Sri Lankans and Indians can use India rupees instead of US dollars for international transaction with each other. So, which will be a boon to the economy of Sri Lanka. The Indian government, since recently, has been looking to bring countries that are short of dollars into its rupee settlement mechanism, which is a good thing. So I think, I mean, nobody has any like opposition to that. Yeah.
Sir, according to 2019, I report that some Buddhist nuns that I've been working with in my thesis about women in Buddhism from socio-religious perspective. So, from that context, according to 2019, some Buddhist nuns derived from and their identity card, and still are they still fighting for their voting rights in Sri Lanka.
Oh, they will get it soon. There is a there is a there is a the because I cannot comment on this because there is a Supreme Court case going on. So my feeling is that probably they will have their rights.
Sir, for last few years, we are seeing some monks are coming to India and taking admission in various universities of India from different countries, different neighboring countries. But after few years as a student, they are becoming Indian citizen. How, we don't know how they are becoming Indian citizens. But after becoming the citizen of India, they are spreading anti-Indian propaganda. But the numbers are very few, just less than 1%, I can say. So, what is your opinion about that? This about this type of monks?
That's the human nature because like if you take the 5 fingers in your hand, it's not the same. So like that, people have their own kind of motives. So sometimes people are subject to, I mean, like the I mean, if if like they are not in kind of an affordable position, they can be used they can be used to harm the place where they live. And there are evil forces coming from outside. So I mean, they can use these people, okay, And now this Buddhism is you know the Buddhism was born in India, so there is no argument, right? And so though Buddhism is born in India, uh, now the percentage of Buddhists in India has dropped down to like less than 1%. But Sri Lanka was gifted Buddhism from India. Now the percentage of Buddhists in Sri Lanka is more than 70%. And Buddhism was gifted to Thailand from India. Now in Thailand, Buddhist population is more than 80%. But we all know and we all appreciate and we all like recognize India is the birthplace of Buddhism. Right? So we have the gratitude and we always like pay our respect to India for this great gift to us. But at the same
Sarish,
time, yeah,
everyone listen to your words, your kind words.
I didn't get your question.
I have a question that scholar, and you are also working in peace and brotherhood. So, as Buddha said that if women enter into the Sangha, they can infect and destroy the rules of Sangha, and ordaining women would reduce the life of Sangha in half. So, so there are many scandals about the monks at present globally. So, what do you think, or what do you insights about? If you give some insight about it.
Well, so in the first place, the Buddha decided to have bhikkhunis. So the Buddhist community is complete according to the Buddha. If they have these four groups, bhikkhu, bhikshuni, upasaka, and upasika. So these four groups should be there. So, and Buddha thought that bhikkhunis could kind of do any, I mean, women could do any harm to the system. He would never have allowed the bhikkhuni status. But the Buddha allowed the bhikkhuni status. And then he taught, so the Buddhist community should have these four groups, bhikshu, bhikshuni, upasaka, and upasika. And
Upashika.
also, yeah, when we live in the world, I mean, we men are there, women are there, like this is how this is the society, right? So nobody can reject, like
This is the balance of nature.
exactly. So like there should not be any sort of discrimination. So that is what we believe. What is that the Buddhists believe? So we have, I mean, like kind of equal status for everybody in the Buddhist society.
Sir, now Sri Lanka is safe for traveling.
Very safe. So now you can come at any time. So the airports are open, and you don't need any kind of PCR or anything. And so the roads are safe, and but still we have sort of so economic downfall. So that's there. But for the tourists, I don't see any problem because I see, 2 weeks back I came from India, so the airport was full of tourists. So the transport and it was like very smooth, and the hotels were working, and for tourists it's fine. And in fact, we need more tourists as well. And we are happy that the in Sri Lanka, when we look at the tourist statistics, India tops the list. So we always have
Definitely
the
visit
most number of
Anuradhapura, the
tourists from
most
India.
historical place of Sri Lanka.
So you have?
We have a plan to visit Sri Lanka, but don't know when it will happen.
You can come at any time. So you need not worry. You can come at any time, and you can go anywhere. So it's open. And also I invite the people of India, because India is our closest neighbor and our closest friend. So India is like our closest relative. So you can visit Sri Lanka at any time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this forum.
At last, I want to say something. We, the people of India, with the people of like Sri Lanka, we, the people of India, with the people of Turkey, Syria, and the Lebanon, who are suffering from recent devastating earthquake. We are with you. India will always help all the countries, like the friend like Sri Lanka or the enemies like Turkey. India is always with the humanity.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That is the nature of India,
So,
because India culture is based on karuna. That is what his holiness always says. So take example from India. So
And we
learn
always
how.
believe in the what Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
Exactly.
so,
Exactly.
sir, what will be your conclusion speech? What do you want to say about today's session?
And and so first let me thank you for inviting me to this forum. And also we always say, and we always tell our governments, and so I mean, you don't have any journey without India. So you have to go with India, because India is our closest relative, neighbor, friend, right? And so we have our roots in India. So, and we are not two, we are one. So if we are together, so the future is ours.
Thank you, sir, for coming
So,
to our channel.
Sri Lanka is a very nice place and very historical place. So, we are very sorry that we cannot show. So, but thank you for coming. And I want to say that I'm sending to all my Sri Lankan friends whoever watching this. I know they are watching, and I'm sending lots of prayers, regards, and love and good wishes to all of you. And may the relation between India and Sri Lanka remain peaceful forever. May Triple Gem bless us all.
Okay, so thank you very much. Also, we also from the side of Sri Lanka. So we pray this India and Sri Lanka connection will last forever. And
Yes.
may the people of India, including the great leader Sri Narendra Modi, uh, and everybody, all our brothers and sisters of India, may you all live, you have good health and happiness. and may you have a very good future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.
Jai
And
Hind.
friends, please stay tuned with us for Think Tank India. And please like, subscribe, and share our channel. Thank you.
Thank you.